Hi, I'm Leanne and I'm a gear splainer. What do I mean by that? I actually have this because they sent it out with some of the gear that I bought for the upcoming trek to Nepal. And it's not a magazine I would usually read, but because it was there, I thought I'd flick through it. And there's a really great article. It's called Gear Splaining by Dan Slater. The tagline is, "No one wants to hear your opinions on the most technical elements of gear, unless, of course, they're asked for." So I want to read an extract of this article because I actually thought it was really funny, really well written, and then maybe share how I tend to do it. And you might find some of these attributes in the way that you show up as well. So Dan writes, "In my previous life as a sales assistant in an outdoor store, I was called upon to outline the operation and benefits of camping and hiking equipment multiple times a day, sometimes non-stop for 8 hours. Sounds easy, right? Even fun. But that kind of concentrated exposition does something to a person. It changes you. You can't always switch it off. And when you find yourself on a hike with mates who are 20 years your senior and you're expounding on the subject of EPTFE membranes, it's safe to say you've probably gone too far and that you need to take a step back from work. The thing is, we should all know how annoying it is. We've all had, well, if you've worked in outdoor retail anyway, that customer who enters the store with the apparent sole purpose of educating the staff on the benefits of merino wool over synthetics. No matter how many times you interject with yes, or I know, or and it's naturally temperature regulating. The born expert will ramble on, sealed in his cocoon, blissfully unaware of the growing frustration of their professional counterpart, regardless of whether they're right or wrong." And I think this is about gear splaining, but it's really probably about anything that has to be explained to us sometimes when it's like, look, I've already drunk the Kool-Aid, I agree with you, but someone will just go on and on about what it is they're trying to share. So why do we do it? I think it's for, I don't think all these reasons I don't think they're bad reasons actually why we would gear splain. I think it's love for the craft, for what we do. Maybe there's a bit of imposter syndrome, so you're trying to prove yourself. Maybe it's because you want to add value and you think adding value is explaining things in detail to people. Maybe it's along the lines of, I don't show you how I did it. How will you know I didn't just get lucky? Like I've researched this is well thought out. So like someone might come to me and say, "Hey, how did you get that video out so fast?" And rather than it being a simple answer from me, I probably would say things like, "Yeah, hey, I recorded it on my phone. I was out for a walk. Then I airdropped it to my computer. Then I went onto this tool called Descript. Do you link for that? Then in Descript, I used an underlord feature, which got me the transcript and made it really clear. I threw that into ChatGPT. Then I got the captions for it." Like I could easily go on and on. And in the same breath, recommend like some shortcut keys as well. Like I get very excited when people ask me questions like that. And other times it could be, oh, this workshop activity really landed. And I'm telling them what ideas and thought and maybe a theory that actually underpinned it, why it went so well because of X, Y, Z, not just because we landed it in the moment. There's like, actually, I thought about it. So there's the whole thing around just trying to prove your worth, I guess, when you gear explain. So I know I can do it on topics I'm particularly passionate about around technology, around efficiency, I think is where I will do it. I'm learning so much about hiking and trekking, especially in really cool temperatures, like negative 20 degrees. I'm doing so much research and I'm like, where do I put this? Like, how do I first of all, I do think it's going to be useful for someone. So I'm actually thinking of having just a blog on my Substack, which I will update every now and then with what I'm learning around this sort of stuff, but also managing Achilles injuries, like a one-stop shop. So I'm not going to change my content to just share all about it, but I think I would like to capture the journey of knowing all this stuff because it's really quite helpful, I think. And so that'll be a place where if someone asks me the question, I can send them there for the detail. I don't need to like ramble on and on about all the stuff because I guess I can send them there. So I think that's one thing I might do. And people in the past have asked me, hey, how do you create private podcasts for clients? And I've got a course I can direct people to. So it's just sometimes capturing that knowledge and creating an asset of maybe a knowledge library or a Wikipedia, something like that. If you are particularly passionate around a topic and you don't want to be that person that just gear splains and hijacks conversations. So that's me sharing what I tend to want to talk to people and tell people about and recommend. In fairness, people do actually ask me specific questions around stuff like what microphone do you use and things like that. So I think it does serve its purpose and I will answer the question if asked specifically, but this article kind of highlighted what it's like. I think we all know what it's like to be on the other side of it though. When you ask a question and someone goes on and on, maybe gives you detail that is irrelevant to what you need. I think the perfect way of summing this up is I'll just read out one more section from Dan's article. But wait, this isn't a fair summation of the facts. How many of us have gone into an outdoor store with the express aim of buying a sleeping bag, wishing only to be shown the range of models with their temperature ratings and prices, only to be cornered by an over-enthusiastic weekend staff member or nursing student who blathers on about Phil and Loft and EN Standard for 45 minutes while under the impression that you're grateful for being the recipient of their exhaustive pan-dimensional wisdom. And I do think when people are trying to sell you things, sometimes them talking more and giving you more detail, it actually takes away from what you're after. Like if you go in with a specific purpose for wanting a product and they tell you, and then, kind of like that guy from Demtel Home Shopping. If you grew up in Australia, he would always say, and there's still more. And I feel like sometimes we try to be so helpful that we're actually not. So are there any elements in your life that you're gearsplaining to other people? Maybe you're giving them information they don't need. I love how my mentor, Alan Weiss, says, tell them everything they need to know, not everything that you know. All right, signing off. Enough gearsplaining today. I'll speak to you tomorrow.